I'm sometimes asked, Malcolm, if you paint for a living, what do you actually do to relax? Well, I'm going to show you in this video what I like to do to just kick back and do something creative. It's something that I think you're going to find interesting to do as well, and perhaps it is the ultimate way to incorporate painting and relaxation. Let's have a look and see how I go about this. Okay, it's really quite simple. I do illustrated journals. These are paintings that I do in my own time just for fun. Usually in the evenings I may be listening to something on YouTube or a book or something like that, an audiobook, and I just paint. Now I use watercolors, I use gouache, I use pen and ink. In this video I'm going to show you my basic equipment that I use for this, mostly focused on watercolor and pen, and I'm going to then do a quick little beginner's sketch, something that I would frequently do just in 10-15 minutes or so, but very simple. If you're a beginner at any sort of journaling, you want to consider urban sketching, this would be a good place to start. Alright, let's have a look at the materials, then jump into the painting.
Right, these are my watercolor brushes. This is a Della Rani brush. I've got these wonderful mops made by Raphael, a size 2 and 6, and a few smaller brushes like a rigger, and that pretty much covers it. This cat's tail brush, this mop, probably use those to the most. And a rigger as well. The big mop, seldom for journals though, but you never know. Alright, as far as paints go, I like the little Traveler's watercolor palette. This is by Mungyo, and very simple. As you can see, nice and portable, and you can just hold it in your hand like that, mix paint, and fine for journals. Nothing bigger though. These are Venezia by My Mary, tube watercolors, very handy for larger projects. Daniel Smith, this is actually an Alvaro Castanet set. Extremely strong watercolor paints, really excellent. And these small little tubes are quite handy for traveling as well. Easily fits in a bag. Of course, you need a pencil, a nice soft pencil, but I use these Pigma Micron pens quite a lot. I'm going to put links in the description for you as well. But they've come with a brush pen and some standard tips in various sizes. A few trays like this are handy to mix color. And of course, your journals. This is a Fabriano journal. Quite nice. I've made this little stoic journal, and I've used some of these paintings in my journals course. Very nice to do these little sketches, and the paper is pretty good. It is watercolor paper, so it takes very nicely. Here's an example of the brush tip on the Pigma pen, and this is indelible ink, so you can go over it with water, and this is a size 5 tip. You can see makes a nice sort of medium sized line. This is a cheaper journal. You don't need expensive paper. It's not the best for watercolor, but I'm going to use it and show you how it works. It does the job for journaling and just a bit of fun. But if you're really serious about watercolor in your journals, use something like a 300 gram paper. Okay, I'm going to create a little sketch. This is purely out of my head. It's just a very simple little sketch, and something you might be able to sketch quickly outdoors if you're faced with a scene. Something like this, a hillside, some trees, some buildings, let's say some cottages just above the ridgeline, and it's more about practicing composition and shadows, shadow patterns, shapes, and it's kind of a self-teaching mechanism as well. It does just helps you to improve your drawing a little as well while having fun. No real pressure. But I'm doing this, as I said, really for a composition exercise, so creating something on a diagonal but with shapes to just slow the eye down a bit on the diagonal line. Some buildings behind the ridge there as well, just showing a little bit, and I'm going to just create a few interesting little notes. Just creating something out of nothing. I think that's one of the pleasures of this exercise. It's just doodling, really. You can do this sitting at your desk and just let your mind relax and let your thoughts just calm down a bit, and maybe also just helps to settle a few issues or problems you might have in your day, and it gives your mind a bit of a breather. So important these days, isn't it? So yeah, I'm putting a few utility poles also to add compositional elements, verticals, and just break up the scene a bit, make something out of it. You could leave this purely as a sketch, starting out, maybe just exploring, getting to know your art materials, your pens, getting to get the feel of that. But I'm going to add a bit of color, and as I said, very simple, the sort of thing that you can just create very quickly. Let's put a few figures in there. I think will go nicely as well. A little village, hillside village perhaps. It's funny how your mind starts putting a story to something like this, but that's all about stimulating the imagination as well. Food for thought, I always say. Maybe it comes back to help you in a project one day. Let's put a third figure here. Always nice to have three figures. And now we've got definitely a little village. Let's put a few lines. There you go. Well, we're going to put a color down, and I'm going to work with a very, very basic complementary color scheme. I'm going to use the cat's tongue brush. It's also made by Raphael, and I really do like this brush, and I recommend that you get one like it. It's got a great shaped brush to it. So we'll put some sort of deep yellow, orangey color down for a warm landscape. You can see the paper is not a very thick paper. It's really a writing journal, but it'll take some color, let it just settle a bit. I'm going to splash some color around as well, just for some texture and a bit of fun. Okay, let's clean the brush off a little and get some blue. This is just ultramarine. And we'll get that blue scheme against the orange. And have the two color schemes, or the complementary colors, creating a bit of energy. Leave the buildings for the most part, or the bright side of the buildings, maybe just leave them white or just a light sort of warm wash on them. But just think about keeping some of the light by using the paper. Okay, I'll let that dry a bit. You'll see it settles down quite dramatically as watercolor dries back. And this is a first wash, of course, so in standard practice with watercolor, you let that first wash dry, and you can come back and add some more color later on, maybe some stronger values. Just experimenting with a bit of dark green to create a bit of shadow in the shrubbery, and that might just add a little more interest to the very simple landscape. All right, I'll let that settle down for a bit, and you can see this is it dry, how it does change. So now you want to typically bring in some of your darker values or boost some of the color. So I'm going to get these darks of the trees and shrubs. Just strengthen that a little, add a little bit of color as well, touch of texture. I can't do too much more on this paper. It's pretty much absorbed, I think, as much color as it's going to. But this is not a painting for sale. This is a little bit of journaling fun for just me and you to enjoy. And I think we've got to boost these colors, give them some real punch here in the foreground, a bit of an orangey color, and that'll make those blues, or maybe the blues make the orange pop a bit more. I'm not too sure which it is. I'd have liked to have kept those buildings white as I consider it now, but that's another little thing learned. Let's put a suggestion of a bit of touch of clouds forming or something like that. Maybe some color in these utility poles. And yeah, the paper just doesn't absorb that too much. Anyway, a bit of accents here, and that's it really. Touch of color on the figures, but a little bit of journaling fun with your watercolors.
Well, I hope that's given you some inspiration to do something really simple and relaxing. At the same time, you're probably going to improve your drawing and painting skills anyway. It's never time wasted. It's the best way, I believe, to totally calm down. And in fact, I believe in this so much that I did create a course using journaling for mindfulness, where I've used watercolor and gouache mainly to illustrate what I'm talking about. So if you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the description. Otherwise, I recommend get a journal, get some ink pens, and just start. And then add color later on if you want to go that next step. Right, if you're interested in seeing more watercolor sketches, urban sketching, journaling, let me know in the comments as well, and I can bring more of that in future videos. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of those that might be coming up in the future. All right, until next time, happy journaling and cheers for now.